Dost thou know the difference, my boy, between a bitter fool and a sweet one?
No, lad. Teach me.
That Lord that cancelled thee to give away thy land, come place him here by me, do thou for him stand. The sweet and bitter fool will presently appear, the one in motley here, the other fount out there.
Dost thou call me fool, boy?
All thy other titles thou hast given away, that thou wast born with.
Hey, dude.
Yeah, that's something that I actually would like to learn how to do
Uh-huh.
more of, because I wanted to get affiliated with this program that's actually in Warsaw. And
What is it?
It's called the Toastmasters, where it's a program where there's some prestigious people that's involved with it,
Uh-huh.
and they actually it's a nonprofit organization, and what they do is they actually like help one another to hone their public speaking skills. And so, due to the fact that I have a fascinating story, and we all have a story, but my story, what's different from my story to other people's stories, is that it's my story.
Right.
And no one can take that away from me. So I feel that it's best, that I take full advantage of, getting my story out there,
Yeah.
so that people can hear it.
So what is your story? What's the broad outline?
The broad outline is my life's journey, overcoming adversity, overcoming the odds, and taking advantage of situations or set of situations that will only allow me to be a better person out of like a whole lot of other things that I may be able to be for others.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I would like to expound on my testimony. Really is a 6-year incubation stage. The 6-year incubation stage is I have served 6 years in prison, and I've like the many endurances in my life of being in and out of prison. That was the longest incarcerated stretch I've ever encountered.
Okay.
Within that 6 years stretch, I had decided to take responsibility for myself and just challenge myself, take the bull by the horns, and I just allow myself to grow and develop.
Because you were first incarcerated when you were 17.
Yes.
And then this one that you're talking about, you were age 34.
Yes.
When you went in.
Yes.
And it was 6 years. So what was different about when you went in at age 34? What had changed in your mind?
Well, what changed in my mind was it all started in the courtroom when I got sentenced by a Wisconsin judge. I can hear it ringing in my. It's like a tape recorder right now in my mind. Megale Taylor, I sentenced you now to 10 years in the Wisconsin prison system. And the first thing that came into my mind was thank God. And I literally, no one would ever even go that length in their minds to say something like that or think something like that. But the reason why I thought that, because I was tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being tired, and I had to make a change. It's like something needs to give.
Yeah.
And I was at my wit's end. I was actually, although I was free on the outside physically, I was really a prisoner within myself.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting that I've come to understand that I was actually free in my mind. I wasn't in prison while I was incarcerated. I was actually free.
Something clicked for you.
Something clicked.
Yeah.
One of the most significant things that clicked for me was theater in prison. And the reason why that is so significant is because it was like I was broke down to the lowest compound. I was like at the lowest of my lows. That was my low, where I had a nervous breakdown because I realized that I got real time, and it would be concrete time that I would have to actually not try to whiz my way out of or try to do a program or a prison program to get short time. This was like a truth in sentencing set.
I see.
And I had to stomach it, and I had to deal with the reality of, having 10 years sentence in prison.
Okay. Did you know it was going to be 6 years?
I had no idea it was going to be 6 years up until when I gave back some time, because I would have did outright 10 years straight.
I see. So that was the sentence?
Yes. So what really was a distraught situation for me was I really got sentenced to 10 years in and 10 years out, which actually is a total of 20 years. But I had communicated that in my mind of, well, with the judge sitting at 10 years, I was like, okay, well, that's 5 in and 5 out. So I of course went through the process which every prisoner goes through, which is like do dodge, and they calculate your time. Well, my time was calculated wrongly. So on paper, initially I was sentenced. I had 5 years in and 5 years out. So I got incarcerated in 2004, and my MR, my mandatory release, was 2009, and my extended release was 2014. But it turned out that got changed to the actual truth in sentencing. And when I saw that change, I lost it. I had a nervous breakdown. I never had such a moment like that, where I actually broke down, couldn't even stop crying, because I was away from my loved ones, and I was getting down on myself, and I had like a personal crisis within myself. So I had to literally like convince myself to just do whatever needs to be done throughout the course of the time that I got sentenced to. And theater, I learned theater. It was a very challenging experience for me. Shakespeare, of all things, I never knew anything about it.
Now, why wasn't that just a pain? Why wasn't that just hard work and more misery? Why was it a positive thing?
Well, because it actually allowed me to tap into the core things that was in the inside, not so much as focus on the source, but I had to like really like tap into those inner beings of myself, those situations where I was afraid to challenge or tackle on. I was closed channeled in my thinking, selfishness. I was like really a walking criminal mind. I was a walking epitome of the criminal mind. And I, of course, led myself to just really going through the fires of learning something different, something new, something alien to me. And Shakespeare was a challenge. Why? Because it was such a barrier to me, because it was like a new, like a language, like it was a whole entire different plane for me.
So you proved to yourself that you could do it?
Yes.
It required hard work?
It required hard work, psychological warfare, emotional gymnastics. I mean, it was just like a litany of things that I really had to just really force myself to look upon.
And you were in the Shakespeare project from 2004 to 2008.
Yes.
You played the Fool in King Lear the first year.
Yes.
Second year you were Roderigo in Othello. Third year you were Sebastian in The Tempest.
Actually,
Stefano. And fourth year you were Mark Antony in Julius Caesar.
Yes.
And tomorrow at UW Parkside you're going to be performing parts of all four of these plays.
Yes.
That's going to be something. And telling your story.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
I just want to add, that this is a very personal, defining moment, and I'm looking at this more as a history lesson for myself, a step back into time and reflection, and then all of a sudden, like really addressing what going through that fire did for me. It like refurbished, this new person.